And that's our focus here on India Today, 6 p.m. Prime. I'm Nabila Jamal. Mahua Moitra has been expelled from the Parliament. In fact, the Parliament has held her guilty with votes in favour of the ethics panel probe and the report itself that asked for her expulsion, citing that she has indulged in criminal act of sharing her parliamentary login credentials with unauthorized persons, accepting gifts in return for favours. Mahua vehemently opposes these allegations. I'm taking you through those updates. Let me start with the headlines. Mahua Moitra's claims on the ethics panel acted without proof to expel her. She says that this is unfortunate and that she will fight. Mamata Banerjee, on the other hand, TMC Supremo, says this is an unfortunate day for democracy, calls her a victim of circumstances.
Along with all of us MPs are conveyor belts to get questions from the public, from citizens, and to voice that in Parliament. If this Modi government thought that by shutting me up, they are going to do away with the Adani issue.
100 crore rupees cash haul seized in IT raids against Jharkhand Congress MP Dheeraj Sahu. Prime Minister Modi slams the Congress, says every penny looted will be returned. Suspense over CM face rages on. Hectic parleys in BJP camp continues. BJP announces names of central observers for 3 states. Big Mahayuti rift over out on bail NCP leader Nawab Malik. Fadnavis and Shinde oppose Malik's induction. Ajit Pawar's NCP faction backs him. Siddaramaiah government stokes fresh row. Priyank Kharge claims Savarkar poster should be removed from Vidhan Sauda. BJP lashes out, threatens to launch statewide protests. Russian President Vladimir Putin hails Prime Minister Modi, says Modi is stern on protecting national interests despite all the opposition that he receives, and that he's not scared to take tough calls. All right, after nearly 2 months of a back and forth and fight and probe investigation later, it appears that Mahua Moitra has now been officially expelled, disqualified from the Lok Sabha. The Trinamool Congress MP says that this is nothing but vendetta because she raises the issue of Adani, and this is the attempt to shut her up. What next, though, for Mahua Moitra? Does she have a legal recourse? Let's have a listen.
Direct involvement in cash war query in Parliament with reference to the examination and investigation of the alleged unethical conduct of Srimati Mahua Moitra.
Chaos unfolded in Parliament. At the centre of it all, the Trinamool leader, Mahua Moitra herself.
दिनांक 8 दिसंबर 2023 को सभा पटल पर रखे गए आचार संहिता की प्रति रिपोर्ट में नीति सिफारिशों से सहमत है। जो सदस्य इसके प्रस्ताव के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो विरोध में ना गए, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हुआ।
The outspoken ex-Lok Sabha member grappling with a cash for query allegations expelled from the Lok Sabha after the motion was put to vote.
That this House do agree with the recommendation contained.
The decision followed the Lok Sabha Ethics Committee presenting and tabling its report in the House,
Dated 15th October 2020.
recommending her expulsion from the Lok Sabha over accusations of accepting bribes from businessman Darshan Hiranandani in exchange for submitting pre-approved questions in the House. The Congress stood firmly behind Moitra in the House, requesting time to review the report and an opportunity for the accused MP to present her defence in the Lok Sabha.
तो इसलिए मैं आप मेरा तरफ से मेरी पार्टी की तरफ से सर आपसे ये मांग भी रखी है कि 3-4 दिन की मोहलत अब दिया करो और इस बीच हम सही ढंग से पढ़े विचार विमर्श करें और फिर सदन में आकर एक सही ढंग से चर्चा कर जो आप चाहते हैं।
जो अखबारों में पढ़ा उससे बहुत साफ तौर पर यह चीज निकल के आई कि जिनको अभियुक्त बनाया गया, जिनके ऊपर लांछन लगाए गए, उनको अपनी बात पूरी तरह रखने का मौका भी नहीं दिया गया। ये किस तरह का प्रोसीजर है?
The Speaker dismissed requests from both the Congress and Mahua's own party, the Trinamool, to allow her to present her case in the House. Citing a precedent from a 2005 incident when several MPs were expelled from the House over cash for query allegations in a similar manner. The BJP supported the Ethics Committee's recommendations, asserting that proper procedures were followed in its proceedings.
एथिक्स कमेटी के सामने माननीय सांसद महोदया को पूरा मौका मिला, उनकी बात रखने का मौका मिला और मिस्टर हीरानंदानी जो इस कंपनी के प्रमुख है और जिनके पास से गिफ्ट्स और पैसे लेने के जो आरोप यहाँ पे थे, उसमें मिस्टर हीरानंदानी ने खुद एफिडेविट कर एथिक्स कमेटी को दिया है और वो जो एफिडेविट उन्होंने किया है वो इंडियन एम्बेसी के डेप्यूटी काउंसलेट जनरल जो दुबई में है उनके सामने शपथ लेकर उन्होंने ये एफिडेविट किया हुआ है। सर, ये पक्ष या विपक्ष का सवाल नहीं है, ये संसद की मर्यादा का सवाल है।
By the majority.
With Congress leader Sonia Gandhi and other allies standing in solidarity firmly behind the expelled Trinamool MP.
Justice has been denied to Mahua Moitra.
The expelled MP from West Bengal denounced the decision as a kangaroo court judgment. She insists that the Ethics Committee had no evidence of bribes exchanged as alleged in the original complaint.
It refused to summon the businessmen to orally testify, and there is no evidence of any cash, of any gifts anywhere. The recommendation of expulsion is based solely on the ground that I have shared my Lok Sabha portal login.
Mahua Moitra also refuted accusations of sharing login credentials.
All of us MPs are conveyor belts to get questions from the public, from citizens, and to voice that in Parliament.
A new rallying point for the India alliance as they walk united once again. After appearing disjointed earlier this week following the Congress's drubbing in the Hindi heartland, could this be a new signal moment for opposition unity? With Polami Saha in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, Mahua Moitra has spoken to Rajdeep Sardesai of India Today a few days ago. I'm going to take you through a quick glimpse as to exactly what she said on the cash for query case, the revelations that were made by the Ethics Panel Committee. What was her take? While she speaks exclusively to Rajdeep Sardesai, here's Mahua's stance on the allegations against her.
I want to ask you right at the very outset, do you accept that the charges that have been made against you, which are now part of an ethics committee investigation, are very serious in nature?
The very nature of the ethics committee, Rajdeep, I have in front of me the Parliamentary Committee on Ethics, and the first thing that the ethics committee tells you that any complaint that has to be made that is not false, frivolous, vexatious, and has to be made in good faith. Let us look at who's making the charges here. Please let us look at who's making the charges. The charges been made by by not some researcher, advocate in the Supreme Court. The charge has been made by a person with an established, acrimonious personal relationship with me who is engaged in a custody battle over a pet. As ridiculous as it may sound, that is the established truth. These charges have then been forwarded on to by a member of Parliament who has been engaged in a very bitter feud with me over the last 3 or 4 years, and against whom I have even filed a privilege motion for faking his academic qualifications, which, by the way, the very same privileges committee should look into and has not looked into. So the charges right now, the very basis of it reaching the ethics committee is false and frivolous.
The chairperson says you've used unparliamentary language backed by the BJP MPs.
No, one second. Everything is transcribed. There's nothing secret. I have not used any unparliamentary language. Nobody has used any unparliamentary language. The chairperson was reading out from a script that had been handed to him. His line of questioning was filthy. I am standing there. There are two issues. One is the NIC login. And we need to make this public. There's no rule 275 which is going to protect anybody else. You want to expel us all? Please expel us all. Because this BJP government has taken every rule, every structure that we had in this country and thrown it out of the window. So don't expect us to adhere to anything. And you quote us rule 275. What they did from the beginning was, the rule is, I came in, I gave my statement, then they're supposed to ask, everyone's supposed to ask questions. Before anybody else could start, the chairperson had a 10 or 12 page list of questions. His line of questioning had nothing to do with the two main questions. Why have I been called? One is use of the NIC login, whether it's authorized, unauthorized, and the repercussions of that. That is one issue. The second issue is the purported cash and gifts that you can ask me about, which has been evidence, which has been provided with evidence you can ask me about, which I'm perfectly willing to answer. Whichever question he asked me related to that, and he never asked any question related to that, his entire line of questioning right from the beginning was filthy and derogatory. It was a complete Bastraharan. I mean, I don't even want to tell you all those questions. He says, you say so-and-so was a dear friend. Just how dear was he? And does his wife know how dear he was? And he named the wife. So our committee members stood up and said that you have no right when who the wife is, what that person is, how these are not members, these are not proceedings of a committee. Please stop this line of questioning. So then he says that, oh, she can answer no.
You've called it a badge of honor, but I want to come to specifics. It's a 500-page report. There are two primary charges that have been made which has led to this recommendation for expulsion. Number one, unethical conduct and contempt of the House by Mahua Moitra for sharing her Lok Sabha login credentials to unauthorized persons and its impact on national security. Your login password being shared to Darshan Hiranandani's office, a Dubai-based businessman, is being seen as a violation of national security, according to the committee report.
I think you should read the verbatim. I'm going to actually make that public, given that BJP has thrown Rule 275-2 to the winds and given everything to their own channels. I think I'm actually going to put the verbatim report of what's happened in the committee forward. Uttam Reddy, the Congress MP from Telangana, put it very mildly. He said it's just absurd. If it's a national security issue, that the sharing of a Lok Sabha portal, what is unauthorized persons? There were never any NIC rules given as to who is authorized and who is unauthorized. Till today there is no rule. For the past 3 weeks since this investigation, this kangaroo court has been going on, the NIC still has not put out any rules, and each MP's office still shares this login portal. It's not an email password, it's a login portal password with upwards of 10 people or more. At any given point in time, 3,000 people or more have the login password. So the unauthorization, there is no unauthorized, number one. Number two, if national security depended on the portal by which questions and travel reimbursements could be done, then I really think the NIC should have done a better job of protecting it. And for the last 3 weeks should have put out national level advisories saying that this is a breach of national security. It will call for action under the NIA. Every MP has to please come sign an affidavit saying they are the only ones using their password. I haven't seen them do any of that.
No, but even while you say, ma'am, just a minute, ma'am, even while you, just a minute, ma'am, even while you say there are no rules specifically mentioning how do you use what a parliamentarian can or cannot do with his or her login password, the fact is, as per the report, and you haven't denied it, your Lok Sabha login was used from Dubai 47 times. They've used that information, which is in the public domain, which is not denied.
What do you mean I haven't denied it? I haven't. Where is the question of denying it? I have said it myself on your show before the report even made public. I said that I had requested my friend's office to type in my questions. The OTP came to me.
You don't see that as impropriety of any kind?
I have given 61 questions. Obviously, then, how is that any person can use any help for parliamentary assistance anywhere?
All right, that's Mahua Moitra, who's chosen to speak to Rajdeep Sardesai on India Today, and she says that this is nothing but a witch hunt. Now, let me take you through. TMC has now come out in support of Mahua Moitra, openly speaking in favor of Mahua. Mamata Banerjee says that this is unfortunate day for democracy. These are words of Mamata Banerjee. She says that she's spoken to Mahua Moitra and she's conveyed to her that the party is fully backing her and behind her. I strongly condemn this. The party is totally behind Mahua. It's a betrayal of constitutional rights. This is a message that Mamata Banerjee gives right after Mahua Moitra has been expelled. Let's have a listen.
Party is totally behind the Mahua, and our party will fight along with Indian Alliance together. This matter open our eyes again against the vindictive politics of BJP. It is a betray to our constitutional rights. They ditch the people, they ditch the parliament, they ditch the constitution because they have the majority. Today maybe they are in majority, but tomorrow they may not be there. We have also 2/3 majority. We can do anything. We can expel anybody from the house. But is it proper without the detailed case only to expel somebody will give the justice? Today I congratulate the Indian Alliance. All they are together. We are united. They fight back. And party fully supporting Mahua's case. She is elected by the people. And she belongs to women and young generation and for all the community, caste, creed and everything.
All right, that's Mamata Banerjee, who is now standing up for Mahua Moitra. I'm going to cut across to Paulami Saha with us. Paulami, Mahua Moitra has been expelled. She's disqualified from the parliament, barely 6 months for 2024 elections. Mahua says she'll come back with a resounding victory. What is the sense that you get? Do you believe that she's going to opt the legal recourse that she has? She may be able to go approach the High Court. There are a couple of options that she can choose. But did you get a sense from her that she's going to wait this out and come back to fight electorally in 2024? Any word from her?
Well, Nabila, she's going to, both the options are open to her. She can legally challenge her disqualification from Parliament, and she can, of course, go to the people as well, building up her campaign ahead of 2024. That much she's made very clear, that she's going to contest the elections of 2024. Of course, all is dependent on the Trinamool Congress giving her a ticket. But going by the way that the TMC is supporting her now and is fully behind her, they do realize that they can actually capitalize on this. They can go to the people and say that Mahua has been victimized because she's a woman, because she was a vocal opponent of the government. She was speaking out, and she is one of those voices that has raised itself in Parliament for the people, and that's why she has been penalized. So they do see some sort of political capital that they can gain out of this. So it is quite likely that the TMC, even if they were thinking earlier that maybe Mahua Moitra might not be the candidate to repeat in Krishnanagar Noida district, now they might go ahead and do so. Legally, options are open to her. She's not said anything at the moment as to whether she will be challenging this in a court of law or not. She will, of course, have to consult, her lawyers, her friends, and, of course, the party as well before she goes ahead and does it. But this thing is something that she'd said earlier as well when I'd spoken with her, that legal options are open to her. It remains to be seen whether she exercises that right or not, or whether she decides that this is all political. Let's go out into the electoral battlefield and fight this out.
All right. Well, as we see that Mahua Moitra has a couple of legal options, if I could take our viewers through, Paulami, do stay with us, cutting to the legal options that Mahua Moitra has here. It begins with, of course, she can reach out to the Supreme Court or the High Court to overturn the Ethics Committee's decision. But on what grounds, she'll have to present a case. And she does have a point. She does have enough to say to court in terms of an appeal, because she's claimed that Jai Anand Dehadrai is a jilted lover who's basically trying to defame her. She also says that Darshan Hiranandani was not called in by the Ethics Committee for a face-to-face questioning, just like how she was called. So she has all the points that she could likely pose before the Delhi High Court. In fact, the other option that she has here is to challenge the jurisdiction and the conduct of the Ethics Committee. and also to seek relief through defamation suit. Now, these are options that Mahua Moitra has. What exactly will she opt for? Will she otherwise decide to wait it out and fight 2024 elections, which is barely about 6-7 months away? It's interesting to note that Mahua Moitra at this point has said this has boosted her career electorally. So what's going to be her next move? Nalini, our legal expert, to give us a perspective here. Nalini, a quick word. We believe that Mahua Moitra can reach out to the Delhi High Court and she can challenge this order. She can also challenge the conduct of the Ethics Committee and also seek relief through defamation suit. Give us more on the legal recourse that she could have.
Well, Nabila, the first thing to understand is that according to the principle of natural justice, everybody, irrespective of whether the proceedings are ongoing before a court of law or before any legislative body, everybody has a right for a fair hearing. So keeping that in mind, on the basis of violation of principles of natural justice, Mahua Moitra has the option of challenging the decision of the ethics panel either before the High Court or even in the Supreme Court of India. She can also, of course, approach the Supreme Court of India.
But since this is not, Nalini, a quick word, since this is not a violation of fundamental rights, do you believe she can still reach out to the Supreme Court?
Well, Nabila, it is a fundamental right for every citizen to be given a fair hearing, especially when a decision directly impacts them. So in this case, because the decision of the Ethics Committee directly impacts Mahua Moitra's representation or Mahua Moitra's membership of the Parliament itself, so it's important that it be seen through the principles of natural justice, that all the principles be followed, along with Audi Altrum Partum, which specifically says that everybody should be given a right to a fair hearing to have their say. And that is what Mahua Moitra has been saying from the very beginning, that she has not been given a chance to give her say. She has not been given a chance to cross-examine Mr. Hiranandani. So considering that on the aspect of violation of principles of natural justice, which automatically means violation of her fundamental rights, she can approach either the High Court or the Supreme Court. Another interesting aspect, another interesting option rather, for Mahua Moitra is to challenge the jurisdiction of the Ethics Committee itself, stating that the Ethics Committee should not have delved into this matter because a few experts that we've spoken to have said that this matter is something that should have ideally gone to the Privileges Committee of the Parliament and not the Ethics Committee, and the Ethics Committee should not have looked into it. So keeping that in mind, on that aspect also Mahua has the option of going ahead and challenging it before a court of law, the jurisdiction of the Ethics Committee itself, whether or not they have the right to look into an aspect of this, especially when it's only on the stage of allegations, when there is no transfer of money or exchange of money that's really been proven by any investigating agency. The third option, of course, that's available for Mahua Moitra is the defamation case of hers that's already going on in the Delhi High Court, because she's already made all of these people party to the defamation case. So in that defamation case, if it's proven that these allegations were in fact false, then through that she can hope for the decision of the expert panel, the ethics panel, I beg your pardon, to be reversed. But that is only after the trial before the court and the entire court proceedings have concluded in the defamation case, and it remains to be seen whether or not that even comes in Mahua Moitra's favor in the very first place. So there are, of course, legal options available for her, but keeping in mind that the elections are barely 6 months away from now, it remains to be seen as to whether or not Mahua will even go ahead and exercise these options. Like Paulami was stating earlier, it's something that she has to discuss with her legal team, with her lawyers, to see what is the best way forward for her to approach this, whether it's through a court of law or whether it's just by standing for elections again and trying to get her membership in the Lok Sabha back.
Right. Nalini, stay with us. Paulami and Nalini, if I could just very quickly go over to Aparajita Sarangi, who's the Ethics Committee panel member joining us. Thanks very much, Aparajita, for speaking to India Today. If I could ask you on Mahua Moitra's cash for query case, she's been expelled from the Parliament today. It was. Do you believe that this was a harsh decision that the Ethics Committee has taken? Mahua says that she wasn't allowed to that there was no cross-examination on Darshan Hiranandani. Only she was called in, but Darshan wasn't. How would you respond to that?
See, two things. She just cannot say that she was not heard. As I said, I underscore, she was given opportunity of being heard in the committee. And you know and I know that she walked out of the committee. She didn't want to listen to all of us. This is one part. Number two, the affidavit part. The questions were pertaining to the affidavit. Now the affidavit is a sworn affidavit, sworn by Darshan Hiranandani, who stays in Dubai, and the affidavit was sworn before the Deputy Consulate General in Dubai. Now when there is a sworn affidavit, the person stands by the content of the affidavit. So there is no reason why we should call the person and ask him to repeat what he has written there. And that is why we did not call the person, we did not summon the person to the committee. There was no requirement. I think that would have been sheer wastage of time.
Right. Here we see the opposition is saying that there's 500-page document, no time given to the opposition parties to discuss on the matter. And how can you hold a discussion without opposition time to read that report? So whatever your ethics committee report was tabled in the parliament, it was 500 pages. The opposition hardly had time to read it through. To actually debate in that half an hour's time was nearly impossible.
See, Parliamentary Standing Committee on Privileges and Ethics sat thrice on this issue. And let me tell you that on the first day we heard the two complainants, Jay Dehadrai and Honorable MP Shri Nishikant Dubeji. And thereafter, one full day was devoted to hearing Mahua Moitra ji. We say opportunity of being heard should be given to the defendant, and it was given to her. She walked into the room and she spoke to us for more than 1 hour about many things pertaining to her personal life. We listened to her very patiently and we noted down. And then thereafter, after she had spoken, we had certain questions to ask pertaining to the affidavit. The chairman of the committee started asking questions, all concerned with the affidavit, limited to the contents of the affidavit, I underscore. And suddenly she lost her patience, she lost her cool, she became agitated, and she staged a walkout. She used unparliamentary language for the chairman of the committee, and she did not want to stay within the boundaries of the room. She walked out of the room. Now tell me, on the basis of what she said, on the basis of the contents of the affidavit, on the basis of the report received from the complainants, and on the basis of the report received from the Ministries of Home Affairs and the Ministries of IT and other related government departments, we've drafted a report about 450 above pages report we submitted to Honorable Speaker Lok Sabha. So I think there were a couple of recommendations. Two major recommendations were, one, she should be expelled because of her unethical conduct and non-observance of parliamentary procedures. She has to go out from the Lok Sabha, as it was done in 2005 in cash for query case. And number two, I must tell you, we have recommended very candidly that there has to be an investigative agency duly appointed by the Government of India, which would go into the cash trail, money trail thing. So I think these are the two major recommendations, and there was debate in the Lok Sabha, and we know what happened. The rest is history. All of us know that. So I think she has been expelled.
Well, Aprajita Sarangi, thanks very much, but do stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Polumi, is also right with us. She's been part of the, right outside when the parliamentary proceedings went on. Polumi, here, hardly half an hour that the opposition got to debate. It's a 500-page report from the Ethics Committee, and they hardly got to read it. So how could they actually come up with valid points to debate? Half an hour of a debate before which they had to vote. Do you believe that the process was rushed into? What were the voices that came in from the opposition on this matter?
Well, the opposition, of course, argued against this. It's an over 100 pages report, about 120 pages report. And their argument was you tabled it at 12 p.m. That's when it becomes officially available to all members. You're asking people to debate it, to speak about it. For that, you need to go through the report. Adhiranjan Chaudhary, leader of the Congress party in the Lok Sabha, wrote to the Lok Sabha speaker, spoke on the floor of the House as well before the discussion opened, that please give us at least 2 3 to 4 days to read through this document, because it's a voluminous document. We need to be able to argue this document because we're discussing this. This is a sensitive matter. This is about the membership of a member of Parliament, and it is extremely crucial that we know the details of that report. But obviously, it was not something which was heard by the Speaker. The government said, since, of course, the committee drafted that report has been, much of what's there in that report has been known as well. It's been there, it's on the portal, etc. All of that was said.
Right.
But officially, the hard copy was available to all of these members as it was tabled only at 12 p.m, which they argued against. Manish Tiwari said the same as well. Trinamool Congress, of course, wanted Mahua Moitra to defend herself, for her to be the speaker on behalf of the TMC.
She was not allowed to
an opportunity
speak. That
which
was
wasn't allowed
one of
because
the grouses that Mahua Moitra herself had along with the opposition. Mahua wasn't allowed to speak. Well, she's now expelled from the Parliament. In another 6 months, 2024 elections, she's vowed to fight back, and much harder this time. Thanks very much, Paulami and Ms. Aparajita, for joining us, giving us those inputs. Mahua Moitra receives backing from the India bloc and Mamata Banerjee, who says they stand by her through this crisis. All right, in the latest on Veer Savarkar in Karnataka, there seems to be a showdown over Savarkar's image, a portrait of him inside the assembly in Belagavi. In fact, Priyank Kharge, IT Minister in Karnataka, says, if it were up to me, I would pull down the picture of Savarkar, because what exactly has Savarkar contributed to Karnataka? What has been his contribution? This is a question that the Congress Neta asks. While the assembly begins, here's a controversy that rages on yet again over Savarkar, with BJP threatening a statewide protest if Savarkar's portrait is pulled down from the assembly.
He died over half a century ago, but few figures have proven to be able to polarize like Veer Savarkar. After playing a frontal role in the vicious campaign politics leading up to the Karnataka election this year, and after being brandished by Team Rahul Gandhi as a weapon to bash the Sangh Parivar, the ghost of Savarkar is back, courtesy Karnataka's new leaders. The fresh Savarkar eruption was triggered by this comment. Attacking Savarkar has proven to be potent politically, and in Belagavi, that borders Maharashtra, it is downright incendiary, triggering protests as far as Nagpur and elsewhere in Maharashtra.
He is a very ill-informed person. He gives a look that he is very educated and he knows everything. He is the most uneducated person I have seen in the assembly. He doesn't know head or tail. I think he should read the right books. At least find out what this person has done for the country during the struggle and all those things.
Savarkar's contribution to the freedom struggle is zero, and his photograph should be removed. And there is no second opinion on that. Bharatiya Janata Party was in power. They want to edit the history, and the world knows what is the contribution of Mr. Savarkar. What Priyanka Kharge has said, nothing wrong in it.
But many will be wondering what a freshly victorious Karnataka Congress hopes to gain from raking up Savarkar now, especially since Savarkar is a sensitive issue with certain prominent India alliance members. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, who had made Savarkar something of a war cry against the BJP,
मुझे कहते हैं सही बात बोलने के लिए माफी बोलूं, माफी मांगूं। भाइयों और बहनों, मेरा नाम राहुल सावरकर नहीं है, मेरा नाम राहुल गांधी है।
had in fact been persuaded by ally Sharad Pawar to quit poking a sensitive issue, especially since it annoyed Aghadi partner, the Uddhav Sena. The fresh eruption over Savarkar comes at a time when tremors have already rocked the India alliance. It all now comes down to this portrait, installed by a BJP government in the Belagavi assembly last year and now questioned by a Congress government this week. One thing's for sure, Savarkar may have died 56 years ago, but he's alive and well in Indian politics.
Minister Priyank Kharge said if he was a speaker, he would have removed the portrait of Savarkar in Belgaum Vidhan Sabha. The BJP has now challenged the Congress government to remove the portrait and said they would be taking out protests in every streets of Karnataka, and the party has questioned the minister and the Congress as to what are their contributions to the country and the state, rather talking about Savarkar. Nagarjun Dwarkanath for India Today.
All right, a quick look at the cyclone Michaung, the devastating aftermath that's left behind in Chennai. Even as Tamil Nadu picks up the pieces in the wake of Cyclone Michaung, a heavy rain warning has been sounded in the state as well as neighbouring Kerala for today and tomorrow. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has donated 1 day of his salary as relief, while IMD has issued an alert for Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Meanwhile, Chennai residents are still grappling with post-cyclone woes as city continues to reel from waterlogging, severe waterlogging, power crisis and also milk shortage. Many essentials that still they're struggling to access. IAF choppers are dropping relief materials on rooftops of homes submerged in water. With more rain situation is expected. In fact, the situation itself will be far from okay in the next week. At least that's what's suspected, that this is going to take another week for water to pump out from many of those flooded areas. Amid this, an oil spillage was reported, and that resulted in several fisher folk and residents suffering from respiratory issues, skin rashes, giddiness, headache after inhaling toxic gas that was emanating from Ennore Kattupakam River.
Well, we are reporting from Kattupakam, Ennore, and what you're seeing right behind me is a massive oil spill that has happened in this region. There are several fisher folk over here whose livelihoods are entirely dependent on fishing. Now, because of the massive oil leak and mixing in with this water, thousands of fishes have died. The fishermen are at this point absolutely clueless as to how they're going to sustain further. Now, because of this mixing, there has also been toxic gases that was emanated, and the residents who are living here, families of fisher folk and others as well, they have breathed this toxic gas. They are right now suffering from respiratory issues, skin issues. A lot of them were even feeling giddy in the morning. A lot of people are now getting treatment for that, but this is the situation of Kattupakam right now. The residents over here and the experts, they told us that there were 2 oil refineries very close to this riverbed, and there was an oil spill on the 4th of December. Add to Cyclone Michaung, the toxic gases, the situation has only gone worse from that day.
We are reporting from Puliyanthok in North Chennai, and what we can see on ground, we've been traveling around North Chennai, and what we can see is neglect and apathy. Locals here are extremely angry, extremely disappointed with the manner in which the government has responded, especially with in terms of the rescue and relief measures in North Chennai. And now what you see are visuals of local residents staging a road roko. They've blocked vehicles here, saying that their area, their houses are inundated. They're not getting water, they're not getting food. Nobody's even coming to their rescue. Nobody's coming to even inquire about their well-being, and that is the reason why they say until electricity comes, until water recedes, until they get some kind of help, they're not going to move from here. With video journalist Tinku, this is Shilpa Nair in Chennai for India Today.
All right, that's it for me here on 6 p.m. Prime.